Previously on HUTV. Tonight's episode, Forever and a Day Later.
Hello and welcome to episode 7 of HUTV Huntsville Utilities Television. I'm Todd, joined as always by the Bonnie to my Clyde and the Jekyll to my Hyde, Amanda.
Hello everybody.
Okay, we are back after a week off from the show, and it's a very special show indeed because today, March the 8th, is International Women's Day.
Woohoo! I can't wait. I'm going to celebrate it every year.
And we also have a special guest that we're going to have on the show today for International Women's Day. We'll get to that shortly, won't we, Amanda?
Yes, I can't wait to have Jasmine come on.
So in honor of International Women's Day, I guess I should defer to you if you would like to host today.
No, sidekick.
Okay, you're going to continue to be the Robin to my Batman, I guess. That's the case, maybe. Okay, well, in that case, we will move right along. Of course, HUTV would not be possible without the support of our sponsors. And here with this week's sponsor is the life-size cardboard cutout of our president and CEO, Wes Kelly. This week's episode of HUTV is sponsored by the Fake Suit T-shirt. When you want to look like you are wearing a suit, but you're just too lazy to tie a tie, don the Fake Suit T-shirt. Thank you, Flat Wes.
That was awesome.
Yes. As we said earlier, it's International Women's Day, and when you think of utilities, you probably think of it as a male-dominated industry. And while the majority of workers who are out in the field doing work are male, more and more women are working behind the scenes in this profession. And that's what we want to focus on today. So let's welcome our guests. You know our first guest as the co-host of our show, but she's also the visual media administrator for the PR department here at Huntsville Utilities. Please welcome Amanda.
Hello, everybody.
And when our second guest is not answering your comments and questions, she's working as the legislative and regulatory analyst for Huntsville Utilities. Welcome, Caitlin.
Hello, everyone.
And our third guest is making her first appearance on our show today. She works in the facilities department, which oversees the company's many buildings and other structures. Please welcome Jasmine.
Hello.
Now, before we dive in, let's do a little bit of a history lesson here. International Women's Day began in 1908 when 15,000 women marched for better pay, voting rights, and better working conditions in New York City. The theme of the event this year is Choose to Challenge, because from challenge comes change. So let's kick things off by having each of you tell us a little bit about your role here at Huntsville Utilities. Amanda, we'll start with you.
All right. Well, you guys know me on social media, and I'm usually behind the camera. I handle all of the photos and video productions that take place at Huntsville Utilities. I've been here about 5 years working with Todd, and I came to HU as a classically trained photographer with my own business.
Hi, I'm Jasmine, and I've been here about 8 years. I started off in the tele department. From tele department, I went to commercial, and from commercial, I am facilities admin now. The little work that I do, I can say I do purchase orders for them, help desk tickets, making sure everything's where it needs to be and kept up. Work hand in hand with Dewey and Shane. So yeah.
Hello, everyone. Yes, my name is Caitlin Williams. I have been with Huntsville Utilities for just over a year now, so I am the newbie. I am the Legislative and Regulatory Analyst, which is a fancy title for I do governmental affairs. I follow the state, local, federal government entities as well as regulatory entities to see if there's going to be any laws passed that affect our day-to-day operations here at HU. Prior to coming to HU, I was in Auburn working for the city, so it's good to be here.
All right. Well, we're going to make this like a panel discussion today. And since I am not a woman, I will not be on the panel, but I will be asking questions of our panel. And I'd like to start with the following. Huntsville Utilities has approximately 650 employees. Now, out of that 650, about 1 out of every 4, 25%, are women. What is it like for each of you to be a part of that 25% here at the company?
I can kick us off. So doing videos and photos and being out in the field with a lot of our operations group, that is the majority of our male workforce for sure. And I never really thought about, that I was out of place. I always felt comfortable on the job sites. I never really felt like I was an outsider, and I just enjoy working with the guys.
Honestly, it's an honor to be here. We have several women in the higher up levels of Huntsville Utilities, and they're experts in their areas, whether it's engineering or in customer services or in facilities like Jasmine is. So it's an honor to be here. It's an honor to work beside them. It's an honor to advocate for things that are going to hopefully make their jobs better and easier, and thus make our services to you all better, more efficient, and more reliable, as we always strive to be.
Just about like what they said, and also it's just been a great experience being able to be a part of an organization that provides the needs to our city, and being able to be the only electrical company here in Huntsville. So it is a big responsibility, but I'm up for the challenge, and I think what all the women that do here is really awesome.
And to follow up on something Caitlin said, yes, one of our senior vice presidents, Stacy Cantrell, is our vice president of engineering. I believe she was the first woman at Huntsville Utilities to hold that position, as I recall. And we also have, for those of you who understand how our system works, our governing boards, which are appointed by the City Council. We have an electric board and a natural gas and water board. Each one of those boards each have one woman on them at the time. So, yeah, there's a lot of women working behind the scenes here at this company at all levels. Now, you've all been working in your professions, either here or at other companies, for some time. And during your careers, have you found that you were surrounded more, that most of your employees were men, or most of your employees were women, or was it an even mix? What's your experience been?
Mine was mostly women. But throughout my profession, it's always just been women.
For me, it's been a rather even mix. So when I was at the city of Auburn, I was one of the only women in my department working under the city manager. But prior to that, when I was a fellow for a think tank within the state, I was actually working for a woman. She was one that hired me. And so it was actually the policy team was woman dominated there. So for me, it's been both. I've been, a woman being in the minority in where I work, but also in the majority on the teams that I work. So, it's kind of been both. It's been interesting.
I've kind of had it flip-flop back and forth too. When I did newborn photography in the hospital, well, I was working around a lot of women. But then when I did real estate and commercial photography, it was interesting because I was around more men. So, I flip-flop back and forth.
We said earlier how when you think of utilities, you tend to think of it as a male-dominated profession. I worked in broadcast television for many, many years before I came here, and the thing that I noticed there was a lot of the on-air talent were female. You always had at least one female anchor on each show. A lot of the field reporters were female, and it was the men who were working behind the scenes, running the cameras, producing, directing. So, although you did, of course, have women producers, but a lot of the behind-the-scenes stuff was done by men. So it's very interesting how a lot of those jobs play out. Our operations department, speaking of which, they oversee the workers out in the field, the linemen, the guys out there laying water lines, natural gas line, whatever. That has the smallest percentage of females, not just here at our company, but throughout the industry as a whole. So, what would each of you say to if you met a woman who wants to go into that line of work, not necessarily working behind the scenes at utilities, but to be out there in the field, climbing the poles, going down in the ground to put the lines in? What would you say to them?
I would just say if that's what you truly want to do and you can do it, just to go for it and try it. It's not a failure to try. I would just get out there. If I know I can do it, regardless of what anyone else thinks or, anybody else's opinions, if that's something you want to try to pursue, I think you should go for it. Yeah.
I agree. I think that that it's definitely something that not all women would be able to do, but I could totally see my daughter doing it. She would absolutely love it. To be out there climbing the utility poles, and that would just be awesome.
It's also a job that not all men can do either, in all fairness. It's a physically demanding job.
Hard work.
Yeah. Caitlin, you have anything to add?
Honestly, no. I just say if you want to try it, go for it.
Tagging off of something that Jasmine said a second ago, was there ever a time, you talk about, if that's what you want to do, don't let anybody stand in your way and go for it. And was there ever a time when any of you, whether you were in school or maybe you were early in your careers, when you felt pressured by a superior, a teacher, whatever the case may be, to maybe pursue a job that was more traditionally held by, in the eyes of society, held by a woman?
Actually, no.
No.
Well, that's good. I mean, I think that I think we all know there was a time in our country's history when if a woman said, "Well, I want to be a doctor," her teacher would say, "No, you want to be a nurse," and that's obviously that's not right. It shouldn't be that way. But there was a time, and I'm glad that none of you ever had to experience anything like that. And go ahead.
I mean, I think that we are definitely, we are seeing change, and I do like this challenge to continue to change the gender norms and continue to see more women doing different kinds of jobs, and for that matter, more men doing different kinds of jobs. My mom was an engineer, and she definitely told me to pursue what I want to do, and she worked in an industry where at the time there were only like 5% female, so that was my legacy for my footsteps to follow in.
Well, and you very similar to that, you've heard it said that the women of today got to where they are thanks to the struggle and work of the women from previous generations. Well, now you are the women of the current generation that will shape the future for the next generation of women. And what are some of the important challenges that you think women in the workplace today face that you hope perhaps you can have an impact on?
I would say just being afraid. Sometimes being afraid will hinder you from doing a lot of different things, just to step out there. Sometimes people just get content. They want to stay in their own bubble. They don't want to try anything new. But I think sometimes it's good to just step out there to see what else is out there, to see what else you can accomplish and achieve. Because you never know what you can do. Regardless if you're a man or a woman, or you think this is for guys and this should be for girls, At this point in life, we should just do what we love and what we feel might be for us, not based on what other people's opinions are or what you're afraid to do.
Oh, I'm just excited to see more women come to the utilities.
Now, for those of you who have families, do you find that there are challenges in maintaining a balance between your professional life and your personal life? And are we still at a point where society makes that a difficult balance to achieve and maintain?
Oh, that's a tough one. Well, COVID has definitely changed some of the hurdles. Men and women parents were facing a lot of issues with childcare, and as we come to the end of the pandemic, I think we'll see that schools will open back up, daycares will open back up, and then it gives us parents a chance to really get back into the office at a more normal thing. But yeah, I'd say COVID was a big change.
All right. So before we wrap up this discussion, do any of you have any stories you'd like to share about things or people that have inspired you that you think might be inspiring to others who are looking to pursue whatever their career choice may be?
I'm going to say my mom. I mean, she definitely definitely raised me that I could pursue what I put my mind to. And she definitely encouraged me to stay with the education and get my degree, and so I'm going to say thanks, Mom.
Same. I mean, my mom has always been probably one of my greatest supporters, maybe besides my dad. But I also, in high school, I had a teacher that she believed in me and encouraged me to pursue, different jobs that I really wouldn't have seen myself in otherwise. I mean, I didn't end up going down those routes, but it was refreshing and encouraging to have someone believe in me in something that I didn't believe in myself in. But while it's always nice to have someone to believe in you, no one can get you to where you want to go for you. So it does take the hard work, and nothing worth having ever comes easy. But the thing is, while yes, it may not be easy and it may be hard sometimes, when you get to that destination, it is always so worth it. I've always found that the hard work is always worth it, and I always enjoy whatever it is that I attain more when it is something from the fruits of my labor rather than just being handed to me. So just want to encourage you all, if you're on your journey, that you can do it, you can make it, and the hard work and the effort is going to be so worth it.
I would have to say my mom as well.
Ladies, thank you for your time and your insight today. It's been a very interesting discussion. For those of you who want to continue the discussion, we encourage you to post your own thoughts using the hashtag #ToChallenge and share some of your own thoughts about that. Caitlin, we're not quite through with you, though, because it's time for the internet sensation that's sweeping the nation. That's right. It's comments, questions. Caitlin.
Yes. So
Caitlin, what have you seen? Yeah, our studio is a little laid out differently today because we have 4 people in here, and we usually don't have this many people in here at the same time, and we got to keep everybody spaced apart. But anyway, Caitlin, what have you seen on the interwebs since last we spoke?
Absolutely. Let me pull up my notes here. So on the last day of February, we had a power outage in northwest Madison County that was caused by a broken lightning arrestor. Glenda and Kim gave shout-outs to our electric operations crews, with Glenda saying, "Thanks for all that you do in this weather and all the other times too." And Kim added, "Thank you very much for your dedication." Well, Glenda and Kim, you are both most welcome. It is our absolute pleasure to, get your all's power restored. And kind words really do go a long way, and we very much appreciate that kind word and that encouragement.
And we do pass those messages along to the crews, by the way. Yes. When you guys, thank them for their, because it really does mean a lot to them. They really do appreciate it. Amanda and I had the opportunity, this is something that's going to appear in a future episode, to talk to one of the line workers who went to Athens recently to help with the mutual aid response over there, and that's going to be coming to you later this month. But we talked about that, about how much that means when they get comments from you guys.
Yes. So next, we also posted this picture from our colleagues at TVA, who had water flowing through all of their dams, preparing for the heavy rain that was expected. That prompted Huntsville City Councilwoman Frances Akridge to respond with the shocked emoji. Yes, as you see Todd doing. Certainly an understandable reaction, as TVA's system of dams is pretty impressive.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. If you've never had a chance to tour one, you really want to do that. I've been fortunate enough to be able to do that.
Same. I want to do it too.
Oh, they don't do as much as they used to, but they do. And if you get the chance, and the fact they had all these things going at the same time, and it's not just, it was generating a lot of power, of course, but it was also for flood control, and it's great. And I just want to give a shout out too. Speaking of women who have reached high levels, Councilwoman Akridge, one of 2 women on the Huntsville City Council, and Councilwoman Akridge also interacts a lot with us on Instagram. She's one of our frequent commenters, and we appreciate that. It might earn her a guest spot on the show sometime if she's interested in that. Thank you, Caitlin, and to the rest of you, keep those comments and questions coming. And now it's time for this week's birthday shout out. In honor of International Women's Day, today's birthday shout out goes to Anne Bonny, born on this day in 1702. Anne was another woman in a male-dominated field. She was a famous pirate in the Caribbean between 1718 and 1720, fighting under the command of Calico Jack Rackham. That's a great name, Calico Jack. Together with another female pirate, I want to say pilot, but pirate, named Mary Read, she was one of Calico Jack's most feared privateers. She was captured with the rest of his crew in 1720 and actually sentenced to death, but her sentence was commuted because she was pregnant. She went on to live an additional 62 years, dying in 1782 at the ripe old age of 80. But living on in immortality as one of the people on the old Dutch Master's cigar box. So happy birthday, Anne Bonny. You don't see a lot of female pirates.
No, that's quite the adventurous lifestyle. I mean, when you think of, or at least I do, think of female pirates, I go directly to Pirates of the Caribbean and think about Elizabeth Swann. Because that was one of my favorite movies in middle school. So, just got to give that plug.
But you know, and she was Irish too. I don't know that makes any difference, but I didn't know if there were a lot of Irish pirates, but I guess there were.
Neither.
Okay, before we go, we want to remind you that all guests on HUTV receive a copy of the HUTV home game. It's handy for mom, dandy for dad, and fun for kids of all ages. It rinses clean in any dishwasher and stores flat in any drawer. The HUTV home game. Does anyone have anything else to add before we go?
Actually, I would like to press my luck.
Oh, she's gonna press her luck, and that trip to Jamaica is still on the board. So here we go. Let's start the board.
All right, big money, no whammy, stop.
Oh, stop at a whammy. Amanda, that means you're today's big winner. Congratulations. And to the rest of you, we'll be back next week with another episode. Until then, I'm Todd for Amanda, Caitlin, Jasmine, Flat Wes, and all of us at HUTV, thanking you for watching and reminding you, you can't spell utilities without you.